And we will move now to clarity and consciousness for the modern creator, a musician, an activist, and a music industry thinker. Madame Gandhi's mission is to celebrate gender liberation. Yes, she has toured drumming for Mia, Thievery Corporation, and most recently Oprah on her 2020 Vision Stadium tour with morning dance party Daybreaker, and she has been listed as a Forbes 30 under 30 member and a 2020 TED Fellow. Her uplifting music talks have been critically acclaimed by New York Times, Billboard, NPR, and more. So, let us join Madame Gandhi as she explores the tools and techniques that the modern creator can use to hone their sound and aesthetics. She will discuss wellness practices, business choices, and production techniques to remain unique in an industry that often favors, conformity, right? So this talk will be interpreted, and I see I'm interpreted right now, into sign language by Amber Galloway Gallego, who made the speech just before, the JZ of hip-hop sign language. I'm absolutely delighted. But before we can hear Madame Gandhi, first we will watch a video together before she can start with her keynote. Here we are. This is wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you so much. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And I cannot wait to hear your keynote. So I heard now it's your stage before we watch the second video, but I'll let you tell them when you want to have the second video be played. So this is your stage, Madame Gandhi. So glad to hear you.
Merci beaucoup, and thank you so much to Berlin's Most Wanted for having me. This is so cool. I miss you all. I wish I was in Berlin. I feel like this is actually one of my favorite times in Berlin. Last time I was there, it was for the Ableton Loop conference in 2015. It was November also, and we had so much fun. So I can't wait till we can all be together in person. It's also a pleasure to share the stage with my friend Amber. Amber and I were at the TED conference 2 years ago in Toronto, and I learned so much just from being able to work with Amber. I had never thought in all my efforts to make music that celebrates diverse backgrounds, it didn't ever occur to me that we might be excluding folks who are hard of hearing. And so her work is so radical. The way she interprets sounds and melodies, as you saw, is so unique and so needed. And I love the notion of making sure that our message, no matter what our message is accessible to as many people as possible. So Amber, I love you, and it's really cool to be here with you. So for those of you who are tuning in, my name is Kiran. I perform as Madame Gandhi. I'm visiting you from downtown LA in my loft where I live and produce music. And I was so excited to be part of this conference because I saw that majority of the folks who attend each year are fellow creatives, you know, and a lot of times you go to music industry conferences and there's like everyone in the industry, but very few people who are actual music makers. So hello to all my industry folks, hello to all my music makers. My talk today is really inspired by a time when I was touring with MIA, and I hope there are some MIA fans here. For those of you who don't know, she's a very talented Sri Lankan British artist who who had a famous song called Paper Planes. And I was touring with her in 2013 as her drummer. And she had this song on her newest album that year, and it was called There's Only One You. There's only one you. And it's like, there's only one you, da, da, da. There's only one you. You should go and listen to it after this talk. And I thought, what a simple but such a vastly important message. And so often as a musician and as a creator, all of us, you know, we have those moments of like, oh yeah, like what I'm making is really special. And then we zoom out and we look left and right and we're like, oh man, maybe I should be doing more of this. Maybe I should be doing more of that. Maybe my music won't be understood by people. Maybe I should be making more music videos. Like it's so difficult at times to hear ourselves think and making sure that we're making a unique contribution. And so with our short time together, I wanted to share a couple of my practices that I remind myself of almost daily to try to just stay fresh in an industry that oftentimes encourages conformity. So one thing I was reflecting on is this notion of clarity, of having a vision, of going inward and saying, what do I actually like? Asking yourself, what do I actually think? Not what the other memes are saying, not what this article says. What do I actually think, you know? And it's something that honestly seems so obvious, but we have to do that work more often to have conversations with ourselves and say, you know, yeah, what do I believe? What do I think? When I was growing up, my favorite artists, TV on the radio, Fela Kuti from Nigeria, Thievery Corporation, St. Vincent, Tune Yards. Some of my favorite artists, the one thing that I loved about them more so than anything else is that they had a sound. That end to end on an album, the music was undeniably that artist. Like you can play a song that you may have never heard of from that artist and they had a sound. And having a sound means you have clarity, you have taste, you have a perspective. And not only do you have a perspective, but you have confidence enough to validate that perspective and say, not only am I taking a risk, I think this group of sounds or this group of textures or this group of lyrical ideas is cool enough, and I'm going to iterate on it over and over again so that I'm simultaneously innovating a new sound while also I'm simultaneously innovating a new sound while simultaneously getting better at my own sound, getting better at the very thing that I've claimed to offer. When someone listens to a Madame Gandhi track while I'm still early in my career, I want them to hear uplifting, loving, almost soft feminine style vocals when I'm singing with the most celebratory, big anthemic percussion and drums. Because at the end of the day, those are my two favorite things when I'm listening to music, and they're also the things that I think I can most authentically offer. The other thing that's really important about having clarity on your vision, having an intention, being clear as to what it is that you're making, is that you own it. So that tomorrow, if you decide to change your look, your sound, your aesthetic, it's honest, because from the beginning, you were the one controlling the sound. So often, if we are making something to impress somebody else, if we are making something to achieve the top 40 or something like that, it's not an authentic sound. So then when you change your sound, it's like you're just following the trends. You're not making something that's built to last. And you're certainly not owning your own voice and owning your own identity. And I think one of my favorite compliments that I get a lot is when people are like, oh my God, like the music video that you did 2 years ago, you look so different in the music video you did last year, and you look so different again in the music video you did this year. And I used to like get confused by that comment, but then I realized for me that means that there is liberation and power in being able to reinvent yourself over and over again, because you are controlling that narrative. You are authentically owning the very thing that you're making. So you can make whatever you want, whenever you want, because it's you. It's funny because when I share this stuff, it actually is very obvious. But sometimes even I need this reminder, because it's the most liberating thing to just be able to have that conversation with yourself and be like, Kieran, what do you actually think is cool, you know? In terms of production techniques, my favorite style of producing, and I'm an Ableton user for any other Ableton production folks on this in this conference, I love creating a certain palette of sounds or instruments that I'm definitely going to use, and then sticking with that group of instruments on multiple records. So I have my little OPZ that I can show you. I probably overuse this thing. I don't know if any folks love Teenage Engineering products, but this is the Z Synthesizer. I love their drum sounds, and I absolutely love their synth sounds. I use that on all my records so that, and you haven't heard that stuff yet, that's the new stuff, but so that there's this cohesiveness in the body of work. I also use a lot of the same drum patterns, and I use the same congas, so that there is, again, this palette that's used over and over again. Of course, it's my vocals, so that's a consistency. And then the message has consistency. The message is often about liberation, owning your voice, celebrating your authentic self, being positive not only for you, but for others, and taking care of yourself. So that's just on the production side, kind of how I think about that stuff. Moving on, I want to talk a little bit about consciousness. So often when I take a fitness class or I go into a music venue or really anywhere that plays music, I find myself loving the beats, I love the melodies, I love the rhythms, but then I listen to the lyrics and I am aghast at the degree to which we tolerate misogyny in our culture all around the world. Lyrics, for example, that might place us in a position of sexual subservience that we may not have consented to, and that we may not have tolerated in any other context. And I don't want to have to turn up to the sound of my own oppression, as Amber well knows. Music is one of the most powerful forms of communication because it caters to the emotions. Music shapes how we understand our role in the world. Music opens up our channels to receive information about somebody else's walk of life. And while I don't have a problem with male fantasy or other people's music, what I do have a problem with is that based on a recent study, only 2% of the entire world's music is produced by women, which means that an even smaller percentage is produced by is produced by trans folks or gender nonconforming folks. And so, again, I'm not here to tell other people how to make their music. I'm not telling other people how to write their lyrics, but I am here to provide and design the alternative. And this matters because if we don't own and control our own stories, if we don't tell our own stories of sex positivity, of queerness, of liberation, of joy, of sorrow, somebody else is going to continue to write those stories, and they're going to get the narrative wrong, perpetuating the very stereotypes that we seek to combat to begin with. Music has to be safe and accessible for all to hear. Consumers can also be part of the change. When you show up to a concert, you can ask the venue, do you have an ASL sign language interpreter available at the show? When you're thinking about the music that you're streaming, whether you're working out or you're dancing, you can delete the songs or remove the songs from your playlist that have lyrics that contribute to the oppression of somebody else. This informs the algorithms that we're not interested in tolerating this music anymore. If you're a DJ, be conscious of the lyrics that you are programming in your DJ set. Be conscious about choosing artists of their various races, ethnicities, backgrounds, abilities, and genders. Be thoughtful in the audience that you're consuming to, because the more diverse the playlist or the DJ set, the more diverse crowd you're going to attract anyway. So there's always a business case for that. I think we're at time, so I'm going to take a pause there and open it up to questions. But these were some of my thoughts on how we as creatives can own our voice and create monumental shift in this industry that we all love. I'm Madame Gandhi, and thank you so much to Berlin's Most Wanted.
Well, thank you so much, Madame Gandhi, to have been with us and deliver such important, I would say, no, such essential messages. It should be really clear, indeed, for everyone in the industry. So thank you to share these insights. So now we can come back and actually, they do not have any questions. They have love messages, no question per se, but really liked Madame Gandhi's message. And also Amber, whoa! So it is really a wonderful feedback that you've got here. But I have one or two questions, if I may, to make the most of this wonderful encounter. First of all, I wanted to know, where did you shoot this last video? Was it in California, or was it in another country? Or?
This video that you just saw, Bad Habits, was in the desert of LA. So just about 2 hours north of LA, there's a desert called Lancaster. There's also obviously the famous deserts, Joshua Tree and Palm Springs. So it's all kind of near there. I think that's why everyone comes to do film in LA because there's just so much space to shoot, which is really special.
Absolutely, no, it's wonderful. And now I would like maybe to reflect what you were saying. You were saying like take care of yourself. So I wanted to ask you a more personal question, maybe. But how do you incorporate yourself wellness practices in your routine as an artist? How can you inspire our audience with this?
Yeah, wellness is vital for me. I really find it I find it like serious. Like it's not like oh, it would be nice to do these things. It's very important. So every day I do a 10 to 15-minute meditation, and I love the meditation work because it really teaches me that we have the power to change the mood or the energy at any moment. And it's both for our own mental health, but it's also the power of being a musician, because we as musicians are getting on the stage and changing the energy. Like if you've ever watched, a DJ transition from the first DJ to the second to the third, they're bringing very different energies each moment, and that's so cool. Like, or if you watch an artist and then they have the opener and then the main act, like each person is bringing very different vibes to the space, and it's really top down. It's really the artist is setting what is the vibe. Are we partying? Are we reflective? Are we sad? Are we crying? Like it's a mood. And so meditation has been huge for me to learn basically our own power, our own power to rewire negative thoughts into positive ones, and to control our thoughts. My mom always says, why would you allow your thoughts to work against you and not for you? Which I think is a really powerful way of explaining how I understand meditation. But that's why I think it's even more important for a career like being a musician, because not only does our mental energy affect us, it's affecting those who are around us and those who are in our audience.
Totally. I think this is a perfect completion of what you were saying about clarity and consciousness, to inspire everybody also to reflect and get that nerve, that feeling, that deep link to your own emotion and clarity, because music is all about emotion, you were saying before. This is so true. So thank you very much to have been with us. Really, I'm absolutely enthused. It's so wonderful when you are a moderator to be able to get to know artists a bit differently. So it's a privilege. I hope I was also able to reflect the questions which were given to us during the day. But I do not see new questions, so I'm glad that I had the privilege to ask you some questions. Madame Gandhi, Amber, thank you so much.
Yeah, no, this is great. And listen, if anybody does have a question, you can always reach out. My Instagram is Madame Gandhi. I check everything, so we can always continue the conversation. And this is so special. I can't wait till we get to do it in person.
Absolutely, me too. So it's great that you're giving more access to yourself also. Wonderful. I want to thank you, Amber, also to give access to many more people in the audience, so that everybody could understand the very important message that we have. And I think, yes, in your last song, you were saying we can be so much better. Yes, we can be so much better together. That's what we saw today at this conference about togetherness. Thank you so much. I'm enthused that we finished this with you together. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Madame Gandhi. And let me give you a very last couple of words. So see you hopefully next year in real life, definitely. And I'm going to stand up because I cannot sit down anymore. And I really need to give you last words with a little bit more energy, to give you also more hope. Because we were saying today also, we will all survive. Life will survive. Music is always there with us and in us. So thank you for all of us who have been with us all day long. I hope you have been networking. I hope you have been seeing a lot of discussions. And I hope you met people and you asked questions. And you listened to wonderful music and acts here today. You saw beautiful videos. That was great. So now, just a couple of things. Stay safe, because we need you back next year, right? So stay safe. Take care of yourself. That was a wonderful message that we just heard of Madame Gandhi.